Welcome to this explainer, everyone. आज की इस कथा में we are exploring a truly epic mystery straight from the Treta Yuga. It's a story that completely defies all natural logic, yet it shapes one of the absolute greatest epics ever known to us. We're looking at the origins of two immensely powerful brothers. You know, their story is this fascinating, almost mind-bending blend of divine intervention, raw emotion, and magical realism that, honestly, it's rarely discussed in full detail. I mean, think about it. How exactly were the most powerful brothers of the Treta Yuga born without a mother's womb? It sounds completely impossible, right? But the source material reveals a secret that is just going to leave you totally amazed. Their creation wasn't biological in the slightest. It involved a supreme divine being and a series of miraculous, genuinely unbelievable events. This wasn't your standard birth. It was a literal cosmic phenomenon. Okay, let's dive into this. Part 1, Brahmaji's Tear of Compassion. The story actually kicks off high up on Mount Sumeru. Our source tells us that the ultimate creator of the universe, Brahmaji, was deeply absorbed in this incredibly intense, profound penance right on this very mountain. And this wasn't just some quiet, peaceful meditation. We're talking about a state of immense, vibrating spiritual energy and focus. So while he's deep in that intense penance, this sudden, utterly overwhelming wave of emotion washes over Brahmaji. It was this incredibly potent mixture of pure, unfiltered compassion and absolute joy. And this emotion was so strong, you guys, that it actually physically manifested. A single tear, just one solitary drop of moisture, slipped and fell right from his eye. Now, what happens the exact second that divine tear hits the ground is absolutely astonishing. It didn't just, water the earth. In a literal instant, that single tear miraculously transformed into Riksharaja. And Riksharaja wasn't just your average creature. He was a massive, incredibly powerful vanara, a giant monkey possessing just unimaginable strength. I mean, just pause and think about that for a second. A colossal, living, breathing giant, created in a fraction of a second from one single tear of joy. Part 2, the magical illusion of the lake. This brings us right to the next bizarre chapter of his life. So Riksharaja, newly born, practically buzzing with all this newfound strength, just starts to wander. Driven by totally natural curiosity, he eventually stumbles upon this very mysterious, clearly magical body of water. He leans over to peer into the lake and, well, this is where the story takes a wildly unexpected turn. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the bizarre sequence of events that follows. When Riksharaja looks into the water, he obviously sees his own reflection. But a powerful magical illusion makes him genuinely believe he's staring at a rival vanara. Consumed by this sudden, blinding rage and pure warrior's instinct, he doesn't even hesitate. He literally dives straight into the pool, completely intending to attack this supposed rival. But the big, epic fight he was expecting? Yeah, it never happened. Instead, he emerged not as a monkey, but as an incomparably beautiful woman. Can you even imagine the sheer shock of that? He literally jumps into the water as this furious, giant, wildly muscular monkey ready for a brawl, and steps out onto the shore entirely transformed. Now she, was just completely stunned, staring down at a physical form that was vastly different and, quite frankly, breathtakingly beautiful. Part 3, the brilliance of Surya and Indra. Because the timing of this transformation, it is absolutely everything. Literally, just as this exceptionally beautiful woman is standing there totally bewildered by her own body, two of the absolute most powerful deities in the cosmos just happened to be passing by. It was Surya, the sun god, and Indra, the king of the gods, and they were instantly completely captivated by her unparalleled beauty. This exact fleeting moment is what led to the birth of our two legendary brothers. First, the sun god Surya's radiant gaze fell specifically upon the beautiful woman's neck. And here's a really cool detail. Because the ancient word for neck is griva, the son who was instantly born from this powerful energy was named Sugriva. Meanwhile, right alongside him, the king of gods, Indra, stepped in with his own divine intervention, directly leading to the birth of the second son, the incredibly mighty Bali. But here's the catch. This intense magical realism came with a very strict time limit. You see, these extraordinary divine births occurred during the night, but the second the sun rose the very next morning, the illusion completely shattered. The remarkably beautiful woman instantly reverted right back into her original true form, the giant, immensely powerful vanara Riksharaja. So Riksharaja literally wakes up the next morning as a male monkey again, but now he is inexplicably the father figure to two unbelievably powerful divine sons. Just wild, right? Part 4. Kishkinda's Rule and the Ultimate Boon. So, up in the heavens, Brahmaji, the one who shed the tear that literally started this whole chain reaction, had been observing everything that just went down. And according to our source material, he was highly, highly pleased with this divine sequence of events. To honor this miraculous brand new family, Brahmaji granted them a truly spectacular domain. He officially handed them the great kingdom of Kishkinda to rule over. And honestly, this is exactly where the story shifts gears from a fascinating tale of magical birth directly into a tale of absolute, terrifying power. Indra, who as we know is Bali's divine father, presented his son with the ultimate, undisputed game changer, a divine, intensely magical golden necklace. Now listen, this wasn't just some pretty piece of jewelry to wear around. 50%, that right there is the exact staggering power of that golden necklace. Because of this specific divine boon, any opponent, and I mean literally anyone, no matter who they were, no matter how ridiculously strong they might be, who dared to stand face-to-face with Bali in combat would instantly have 50%, exact half, of their own strength magically drained and absorbed directly into Bali himself. Think about why this matters so much for the broader epic of the Ramayana. This necklace practically guaranteed absolute invincibility in battle. Bali was already incredibly strong, born of raw divine energy, but with this boon, picking a fight with him was essentially signing your own death sentence. I mean, half your power goes straight to him before you even throw a single punch. This perfectly explains the sheer, unquestioned dominance of the Kishkinda kingdom. Without these completely bizarre divine births, and especially without this specific magical necklace, the invincible Bali and the fiercely loyal Sugriva literally wouldn't exist to shape the great alliances and the massive wars of the Ramayana. They were far from ordinary brothers. Their very existence was literally woven together from divine magic. Which finally leaves us with this incredible, super provocative thought to wrap up our explainer today. If Riksharaja hadn't been tricked by his own reflection in that magical lake, if he hadn't jumped into that water out of pure anger, would the history of the entire Ramayana epic have been completely different? A single illusion, just a simple mistake of mistaking a reflection for a rival, ultimately dictated the destiny of one of history's absolute greatest stories. I really hope this deep dive sparked your curiosity and gave you a totally new perspective on this ancient text. Thanks so much for learning with me today, and hey, keep questioning the incredible stories behind the history.